Korea's ICT exports hit a record high in May, surging nearly 130% from a year earlier due to robust global demand for artificial intelligence-related products.
반도체 등 인공지능 관련 제품에 대한 해외 수요가 견조한 흐름을 이어가면서 지난달 우리나라 정보통신산업 ICT 수출이 작년 같은 달보다 약 130% 급증해 역대 최고치를 기록했습니다. What do we know, Janet?
Well, what do we talk about more than almost anything these days? I feel like we're talking a lot about AI. And all of that thirst for knowledge and all of that technology requires enormous amounts of computer hardware. The main point of this story right now is that Korea is very good at producing that hardware. The world needs it, and Korea is producing it.
Which is semiconductors and the like.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so government ministries here say that ICT, or Information and Communications Technology exports, have surged almost 130% from a year earlier. So that actually sets new records in the category. It seems almost there's an insatiable thirst and need for these products, especially semiconductors, you say.
Insatiable means you're thirsty for something.
Yes, you're thirsty for something, and if something is insatiable, it cannot be satisfied. You can drink water and drink water and drink water, but you're still thirsty. That means there's kind of an endless need for these products right now.
Exactly, and there seems to be no end to it.
Exactly. I guess for Korean exporters, this is good news.
Yes.
If you're kind of resetting your own export records, because, as we see it right now, AI is just beginning, and Korea is sort of at the forefront of this.
그렇죠. 올해 5월 우리나라의 ICT 수출액이요. 478억 달러 정도를 기록했는데 이게 작년 같은 기간에 비해서 무려 130% 정도나 증가한 수치입니다. ICT, 정보통신 산업이라 하면은 그 안에 뭐 많은 것들이 들어있지만 아무래도 이제 AI에 대한 수요.
Right.
또 거기에는 또 이제 반도체도 당연히 포함이 되어 있고요.
And I think semiconductors obviously get sort of the bulk
Yes,
of the
of
attention
course.
and the love in terms of when we discuss it. But there's all sorts of, there's many related components and parts that all go into it that allow us to simply type a question into our computers
맞아요.
and have it spit out an answer.
그렇죠. 이 정보통신산업 ICT 수출이라 하면은 반도체도 포함이 되고 사실 굉장히 큰 부분이지만 그 외에도 뭐 컴퓨터, 주변기기 등등의 여러 품목이 들어 있습니다. 자, 그러면 한번 표현을 볼까요? We're looking at a lot of demand or robust demand.
Robust.
Yeah.
Robust is an adjective. If you describe somebody physically as robust, you can think of somebody large, kind of like not just fat, but like an opera singer, very like large, but very also kind of full of life and energy, full of vitality.
Yes.
If you describe a situation or an economy or a business as that, that means there's a lot of it. There's a lot of it. It's very ample. It's thriving.
Yeah, definitely. I think of sort of power, strength, as you said, energy, 이런 느낌들이 같이 떠오르는 단어인데요. robust라는 게 굉장히 탄탄하다, 뭐 견고하다, 확고하다 이런 느낌이에요.
Right.
어프라싱어처럼 이렇게 듬직한 분한테도 쓸 수 있군요.
Sure, when you describe somebody physically. And I just used that example to show
Okay.
it's not just about being big or large physically, but kind of the energy,
맞아요.
the vitality
Exactly.
of that opera singer. And when you describe, sales numbers or business figures with the word robust, it means there's a lot going on.
Yes.
Very active. It's moving. It's thriving.
Yep. So it's not just big, it's big and thriving. Okay, what about something related?
Something related. We use this a lot. You can put a word in front, hyphenate it, and say related.
Yep.
And it's sort of about that situation. Not exactly, but it's in that adjacent territory.
Yeah. So when it says AI-related products, it could be all sorts of things related to AI.
Totally. Not just the chips and the components that go in there, but the service industries around it, the whole thing. So you can put almost anything there.
Yeah.
If maybe you're interested in, Korean comics and you say comics related, or, if you're interested in cars, something car related.
Yeah. I know that you're interested in all things sports related.
Yes,
as
sports
well.
related,
Yep.
language related.
Yep.
You can almost put any word in front there. Just be sure to hyphenate it. And then voila, there you go.
네. Something hyphen related. 무엇과 관련된 이라는 뜻이고요. 방금 voila라고 하신 거는 이것도 영어에서 많이 쓰는 표현인데 불어에서 오기는 했지만
Yes.
이게 이거다. 이런 뜻이에요.
Yes.
그래서 so add related at the end of another word and you have 뭐뭐과 관련된. 그래서 이렇게 voila 이렇게 표현할 수 있습니다. 여러분도 이런 거 좀 활용해 보세요. 너무 좋아요. 자, 그러면 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Korea's ICT exports hit a record high in May, surging nearly 130% from a year earlier due to robust global demand for artificial intelligence-related products. Let's move on to our second headline.
Professional Korean gamer Lee Sang-hyuk, also known as Faker from T1, has been named to Time magazine's inaugural list of the 100 most influential people in global sports.
e스포츠팀 T1 소속의 페이커로 알려진 한국의 프로게이머 이상혁이 미국 시사주간지 타임이 올해 처음으로 전 세계 스포츠계에 영향력 있는 인물 100명을 선정한 타임 100 스포츠 명단에 이름을 올렸습니다. Alright, Faker 이상혁.
Well, Time magazine puts out a list of its 100 most influential figures from around the world.
Yep.
This is an inaugural list within that because this is the first time that the magazine has put out a list of the 100 most influential people in global sports. And within there, Faker was named as an icon for his influence not only on the industry, but on a lot of young people and really kind of transforming the whole sport,
Yeah.
e-sport.
그러니까 이 시사주간지 타임지가 가장 영향력 있는 100인 리스트는 종종 내놓습니다. 분야가 다 다른데요. 이번에 이렇게 글로벌 스포츠의 분야로 가장 영향력 있는 100인 리스트를 발표한 건 처음이어서 You said earlier it's an inaugural list.
Right.
That means it's the first time.
It's the first time of its kind. When a president is officially takes his or her seat in office, it's called an inauguration.
Yeah.
Something inaugural means it's the first time it's happening. So this is an inaugural list put out by Time magazine. Lee Sang-hyuk really deserves to be on this list.
Yeah.
His record is quite impressive. I feel like gaming fans out there will know much more than me, but he has won the League of Legends, World Championship a total of 6 times with his team, T1, and that includes 3 consecutive or back-to-back titles in recent years, and that's almost unprecedented.
그 리그 오브 레전즈를 줄여서 LOL, 롤이라고 하잖아요.
Right.
그래서 이 리그 오브 레전즈 챔피언십을 롤드컵이라고 부른다고 들었어요.
yes.
네, 그래서 통산 6번이나 우승을 한 그런 이상혁 씨입니다. 이번에 그 가장 영향력 있는 글로벌 스포츠 100인에서 유일한 한국인으로 이름을 올렸습니다.
Just to give you an idea of other superstars that were in this category that
Yeah.
were mentioned along with him, we have like Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi in soccer. We have Shohei Ohtani from baseball and LeBron James from basketball. So we're talking about globally known and respected and loved superstars. And right up there is also Faker.
네. 좋아요. 자, 표현을 이제 일단 inaugural은 봤습니다. 첫 번째 의라는 뜻이었고 또 취임식 할 때는 inauguration이라고 하고요. 자, 그다음에 influential. What does that mean?
Influential is another adjective. When you say something is influential, you are describing something or someone that whose actions or presence has some kind of weight or power or sway over somebody else.
I love that you said someone has weight, has sway. These are all sort of synonyms, expressions that mean the same thing. 영향력 있는. 그래서 어떤 무게감이 있다. 우리말로는 의미가 좀 달라지긴 하는데 영어로는 have weight 하면은 영향력이 있다는 의미가 될 수 있죠.
Okay.
그 다음에는 또 sway. sway라는 것은 이제 옆으로 움직이는, 양옆으로 살살 움직이는 거라서 이게 춤이 될 수도 있지만
Right.
이것도 역시 영향력이 있다. have sway.
Right, because if you have the power to make somebody else sway, that means, your decisions are being watched.
Yeah.
You have some kind of influence over other people. So let's say, for example, a very popular star is seen at the airport wearing something or carrying something. And if that star is influential, sometimes that item will sell out the next day.
Or within minutes.
Within minutes online.
Sometimes.
And that is what we call sway or
Exactly.
influence.
네, 좋습니다. 남들을 이렇게 움직이게 할 정도의 영향력이라고 볼 수 있겠죠. 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. Professional Korean gamer Lee Sang-hyuk, also known as Faker from T1, has been named to Time magazine's inaugural list of the 100 most influential people in global sports.
The U.S. Government Weather Agency has issued an official warning that this year's El Nino has a 63% chance of developing into a super El Nino, potentially becoming one of the strongest climate anomalies recorded since 1950.
미국 해양대기청은 올해 발생한 엘니뇨가 63% 확률로 슈퍼 엘니뇨로 발전할 것으로 보이며 이번이 1950년 이후 발생한 사례 중 가장 강력한 수준에 해당할 수 있다고 공식 경고했습니다. Alright, so tell us about this possibility of a super El Nino. Some people are calling it a Godzilla El Nino, but a really big one. And that's troublesome.
Yes, experts are predicting that it could be massive. A regular El Nino, we know, is a phenomenon in which the sea surface temperatures in the Pacific Ocean near the equator rise to be what experts call higher or warmer than normal. And that sets off a chain of events around the world that turn into crazy weather patterns or phenomena. But now when you get a super El Nino that experts are saying could hit this year, that is when the classification is when the water temperatures are even more than 2 degrees than normal.
Yeah, exactly. And this will likely affect areas around the Pacific Ocean. So we might be seeing floods, for example, wetter than usual winters. And this is going to affect so many regions.
And you would think it's just wet or, water or just storms or floods, but it's also, responsible in a wider sense for crazy wildfires in Greece or, in California. Things where it's, basically outside the general or expected weather patterns that experts have tracked for hundreds of years.
네, 그래요. 그냥 엘니뇨도 아니고 슈퍼 엘니뇨가 예상된다라는 상당히 우려스러운 예보가 나온 가운데 잠재적으로 여러 가지 피해가 발생할 수 있다라고 했는데요. 잠재적으로 영어로는 potentially.
Potentially. When you talk about potential, it's something that is underground. It's not above ground. It's something that is brewing. It has the chance to become something.
So it's an adverb. 그래서 뒤에 형용사나 동사가 붙겠죠. Potentially dangerous. Potentially, let's see, what can we say?
How about potentially successful?
There you go. A very good example of potentially. Thank you so much.
I was trying to think of a positive example.
Yes, that was exactly the way I was headed. What about an anomaly?
Anomaly. That's kind of a funny word to say, no?
Anomaly.
And especially if you have an article in front of it, like
an
anomaly.
Yeah.
Your mouth kind of on it.
Yeah.
But an anomaly is something that is different or unexpected or somehow off in terms of data from the regular expected, set of behaviors.
그렇죠. 보통의 그 흐름에 맞지 않는 것을 an anomaly라고 표현을 할 수 있는데요. 이례적인 것이 될 수 있겠죠. 즉 여기서는 climate anomalies라고 했기 때문에 이상 기후 현상 이렇게 보면 되겠습니다. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. The US Weather Agency has issued an official warning that this year's El Nino has a 63% chance of developing into a super El Nino, potentially becoming one of the strongest climate anomalies recorded since 1950. And let's move on to our next headline.
Celebrated British painter David Hockney, whose vibrant portraits and iconic sun-drenched depictions of everyday life made him one of the most beloved and influential figures in contemporary art, has passed away at the age of 88.
영국 출신의 저명한 화가 데이비드 호크니가 88세를 일기로 세상을 떠났습니다. 그는 생동감 넘치는 초상화와 햇살 가득한 일상 풍경을 담은 상징적인 작품들을 통해 현대 미술계에서 가장 사랑받고 영향력 있는 인물 중 한 명으로 꼽혀온 화가입니다. Tell us more.
Well, born in the UK in 1937, Hockney relocated to the US in the 1960s, and so that's where a lot of his success and his artwork happened. If you are not familiar with David Hockney, I still feel like you would be likely to recognize some of his most signature pieces.
Yeah.
The most recognizable one being a series of LA swimming pool pictures, which are so blue and so vibrant. And that sort of defines David Hockney's work. And, his much-loved pieces were reproduced in prints and posters. I had a poster in my apartment in college.
Really?
Yes. So even if you're not a follower of David Hockney's work, you know him, and he's had a huge influence on the contemporary art world.
맞아요. 지금 계절이랑 딱 맞는 그 수영장에 이렇게 첨벙 들어가서 물이 튀기는 요런 그림. 그게 대표적으로 데이비드 호크니의 작품이었는데요. 그런 좀 밝은 느낌. 기분 좋아지는 이런 느낌의 그림들로 굉장히 유명하죠.
What was interesting about Hockney was that he didn't typically paint anything spectacular or, anything too wild or different. He enjoyed painting everyday life. Like a swimming pool. He was fond of painting his two beloved dachshunds.
Yeah.
He painted his mother. He painted his house. So just everyday life. And yet he did it in a way that really captivates the viewer and almost makes you want to, jump into that swimming pool because his work kind of jumps off the canvas.
Exactly. 2019년에는 서울에서도 이제 그 개인전을 연 적이 있습니다. 자, 그럼 한번 표현을 볼게요. 유명한, famous도 있지만 celebrated는 어떨까요?
Celebrated with an ed at the end, used this way. It's not, just the past tense of the word celebrate, but it becomes an adjective to describe somebody that is not just famous, but famous plus loved plus perhaps respected,
Sure.
and kind of widely so. So you wouldn't just say about your best friend that he or she is celebrated just because you love him or her, but somebody that is sort of recognized around the world or in a wide sense. That would be somebody that's celebrated.
So in the World Cup right now, on our team,
Yes.
Team Korea, we have the celebrated Son Heung-min, who of course is a great, I guess, assistant to the rest of the team as well. I mean, he leads the team, but he's also right now, I think, acting as a bit of an anchor role instead of like shooting. He's helping the team.
Well, I guess he's the captain, so he always is sort of the emotional pillar of the team, and he's sort of the most celebrated soccer star, at least on Team Korea.
Yes.
Widely known. That would be a good way to use it.
그래요. 그래서 굉장히 유명하다, 명성이 높다라고 할 때 celebrated, 그리고 이제 그 어떤 직업인지 얘기하면 되겠죠? 아니면 그냥 most celebrated, 그렇죠. 직업 뒤에 붙이면 되죠. 여기선 페인터가 나왔지만 celebrated football player, celebrated
dentist,
이런
celebrated
식으로.
radio DJ,
그래요.
whatever it is you want to put behind it.
좋습니다. 자, 그다음에 sun-drenched depictions.
This is a hyphenated adjective, so sun and then hyphen drenched. So sun-drenched, when something is drenched, it is wet. Like it is not just you spill a little bit of water on yourself, but you become completely soaked. like you're at a Psy concert. So if
Is that what happens at a Psy concert?
Yes, yes. You get completely drenched with water and sweat. So if something is sun-drenched, that means you are sort of bathing in the sun. And
그래요.
David Hockney's paintings have a lot of sunlight, a lot of sun. I mean, he was based in LA, and that comes across in his work.
네. 이 물에 푹 뭔가를 담궈 놓으면은 그게 이제 물에 drenched 됐다고 해요. 근데 이제 몰랐는데, 싸이 콘서트 가면은 거기도 이게 물을 뿌리나 보죠?
Yes.
맞나요?
Yes. You
그래서
get completely
흠뻑
drenched.
젖어요.
Completely drenched.
그렇구나. 자, 여기서는 sun drenched이기 때문에 햇살을 정말 이렇게 많이 받는 듯한 그런 인상의 그림들. 그래서 아주 화사하고 아주 밝고 정말 이렇게 따뜻한 그런 햇살이 거의 느껴질 것 같은 이런 그림들이죠. Sun-drenched 그런 그림들로 유명합니다. 자, 다시 읽어볼게요. Celebrated British painter David Hockney, whose vibrant portraits and iconic sun-drenched depictions of everyday life made him one of the most beloved and influential figures in contemporary art, has passed away at the age of 88. Now let's move on to the final headline.
A passenger jet carrying 345 passengers from Mexico to London was grounded for several days after cabin cleaning staff discovered a suspected venomous snake on board.
자, 승객 345명을 태우고 멕시코 칸쿤을 출발해 영국 런던에 도착한 여객기에서 기내 청소 도중 독사로 보이는 뱀 한 마리가 발견돼 해당 비행기가 며칠 동안 운항에서 제외되는 일이 벌어졌습니다. Alright, so what happened? What do we
Yikes.
know? Yeah, exactly. Yikes. That's correct.
Yes, it's a real life Samuel L. Jackson snakes on a plane type of nightmare story. This happened on a commercial flight from Cancun, Mexico, landing in London, and there were 345 passengers on board. There was a snake discovered thankfully, after those 345 passengers, left the plane, it was discovered by a person cleaning the jet, and they were able to snap a picture of it. Unfortunately, the snake hid. It escaped the reach of the experts that eventually tried to catch it, and so it's currently, as we know, on the loose.
Exactly. 자, 이 민항기 커머셜 플라이트에서 뱀이 발견이 됐습니다. 네, 다행히 부상자나 안전사고는 발생하지 않았고요. 그러나 승객 345명이 이제 내리고 나서 청소를 하던 중 이 뱀이 발견이 됐고 지금까지 알려진 바로는 아직 찾지 못했대요. 지금 기내 어딘가에 있는 것 같아요. 근데
That
지금,
is the latest we know.
Yeah, exactly. So we don't know for sure. That's why the tense here, just in case you're being very technical, is in the simple past because as far as we know, that is what happened. This actually happened on the 5th of June, so it's been 10 days already.
It's been quite a while.
Yes.
But snakes make no sound and they can slither away. And on a plane, there's obviously, no shortage of little places you can hide. And so, so they have not been able to find this problematic snake.
아직까지는 이 뱀을 찾았다라는 소식이 전해지진 않고 있습니다. 그래서 어떻게 됐는지 저희도 좀 궁금한데요. 아직도 이 안에서 돌아다니는지. 돌아다니는 게 문제가 아니라 먹잇감이 없기 때문에 언젠가는 좀 나와야 되지 않을까 이런 생각이 좀 들어요.
Authorities from the airline say that they will not let the plane fly until they locate it.
그래요.
But who knows if there could even be more.
그렇습니다. 그래서 그런 의미에서 보면은 사실은 여기서 the plane was grounded 말고 it has been grounded라고 해도 됩니다. 그러면 지금까지도 유효하다는 얘기니까. 근데 지금 당장 이 순간에 어떻게 됐는지 저희가 현장에 가보지 않았기 때문에 이렇게 전하는 의미에서 시제를 그렇게 써봤고, 자, let's have a look at venomous snake.
Venom, V-E-N-O-M, is the poison, the thing inside the snake that can kill you.
Yeah.
A venomous snake then is a snake carrying that. You can use it for other things too. A venomous spider.
Okay, yeah. 그래요. Venomous는 poisonous라는 뜻이 있어서 독사입니다. venomous snake.
Apparently, though, in English, venomous and poisonous. So venomous is if it bites you, right? So if if a spider or if a snake actually attacks you and inserts that poison into you, and a poisonous something or other is like an apple or a mushroom or an herb, something where you have to ingest it
그래요.
to become sick.
그래서 약간의 차이가 있습니다. venomous 하면은 직접 물거나 쏘아서 독을 주입하는 그런 동물에 많이 써요. 지금 얘기한 뱀, 그 다음에는 scorpion, 정갈도 있을 수 있고요. wasp 같은 게 있을 수도 있겠죠. 자, 그런가 하면은 poisonous는 우리가 이제 만지거나 먹었을 때 독이 흡수되는 그런 생물. 그러니까 독버섯이 있을 수도 있겠고, 그 다음에 아까 사과라고 하셨나요?
Like a poisonous apple?
백설공주 생각하신 것 같은데.
Is that too much of a fairy tale story? Or like a poisonous gas?
보통 사과는 독성이 없지만 어쨌든.
That's true.
그래. 근데 그 동화에서는 그렇게 말하겠죠.
Sure, with Snow White.
맞아요. 자, 그리고 be grounded가 바로 이제 이륙이 금지되다라는 뜻이 되겠습니다. 다시 읽어볼게요. A passenger jet carrying 345 passengers from Mexico to London was grounded for several days after cabin cleaning staff discovered a suspected venomous snake on board. Right, well, that's it for our 5 headlines this morning.
Medical expenditures by foreign tourists in Korea reached a record high of more than 250 billion won in May, driven by strong global demand for local pharmaceutical products and health and beauty services.
한국산 의약품 및 건강 미용 서비스에 대한 글로벌 수요가 강세를 보이면서 올해 5월 한국을 찾은 외국인 관광객이 의료 부문에 지출한 금액이 역대 최대인 2,500억 원을 넘어선 것으로 집계됐습니다. Tell us more. It's all about K-beauty and K-medicine? K-pharmaceuticals?
Yes, K-pharmaceuticals,
Okay,
I think, is
right.
a good term to use here. And certainly, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Back at the start of the year, spending, foreign expenditure was about 109.6 billion won. Now it's 251.1 billion won for May. So we're looking at a big increase over the year.
Yeah.
On year, that's a 0.5% increase. So more people are buying more things or having more treatments. Skincare seems to be a big thing, and skin clinics actually took the largest share of the market. It's about 57.8% of that was spent at dermatology offices. Plastic surgery was also up, but also pharmacies.
Yeah.
People are going to their yakguks, they're going to their chemists or their pharmacy, and they're getting over-the-counter products. That used to have, back in January, a 4.9% market share. That's now a 12.9% market share. More than double the amount of products double amount of money are now being spent on products from pharmacies.
그래요. 외국인 관광객에게 우리나라의 피부과와 성형외과 그리고 약국이 상당히 인기입니다. 그러다 보니까 지금 얘기하고 있는 이런 이제 외국인들의 소비가 늘고요. 또 우리나라 입장에서는 또 그런 소비액이 늘므로 인해서 수입이 늘고 있다고 또 볼 수 있겠죠. Let's have a look at some expressions. 이런 이제 K-의약품에 대한 외국인들의 의료 소비를 영어로는 뭐라고 하죠?
Expenditure.
어렵네요.
Or expenditures. And expenditure is referring to the amount of money spent. So we can talk about our expenditure. Sue's monthly expenditure is on the things that she buys, the money that she spends. That could be rent, it could be bills, it could be food, it could be whatever. It's all money going out instead of going in.
그래요. 이게 지출이라는 뜻이 있어요. 그래서 물론 소비하면은 consumption이라는 단어도 많이 떠올리실 텐데 지출이라는 단어 또 여기서는 이제 해석할 때 소비라고 해도 무관하겠죠. So the expenditure for medical products and also medical services, this has gone up drastically.
Yes.
In particular, you did say there's a big demand for pharmaceutical products.
Yes, well, a product is going to be something that we use, something that we buy, and if it's pharmaceutical, it's from the pharmacy or has something to do with the pharmacy. It's going to be medical in some way, but it's not from a clinic, it's not from the doctor, it's an over-the-counter product, meaning you don't need a prescription.
Right, OTC, over the counter. 처방전, prescription 없이 우리가 살 수 있는 의약품들을 OTC products, over-the-counter products라고 하기도 하고요. 아니면 pharmaceutical products라고 하는데 이 pharmacy가 바로 약국이에요.
Yes.
약국을 뜻하는 단어가 많이 있죠. You can say drugstore as well.
You can. If you're in the UK, you say chemist,
Chemist.
or at least you used to. I think maybe some people are now saying pharmacy. I think the American terminology has spread across
Taken
the
over.
world.
Yeah, 그래요. 그래서 한 3가지 정도가 지금 떠오르긴 하는데 다 약국입니다. Pharmacy, drugstore, chemist. Pharmaceutical products는 그런 약국에서 파는 의약품이 되겠네요. Pharmaceutical 스펠링 알려주세요.
PHARMACEUTICAL.
A long one, that. Right, here's the headline again. Medical expenditures by foreign tourists in Korea reached a record high of more than 250 billion won in May, driven by strong global demand for local pharmaceutical products and health and beauty services. Let's move on to the second headline.
The obesity rate among Korean adults has risen steadily over the past decade to nearly 35%, with more than half of all men in their 30s and 40s now classified as obese.
국내 만 19세 이상 성인의 비만율이 지난 10년 사이 꾸준히 증가해 35%에 육박한 가운데 이 중 30대와 40대 남성의 비만율은 50%가 넘는 것으로 나타났습니다. Oh dear. Tell us
Yes.
more.
Well, hello. I'm part of this number. I think, unfortunately, it's one of the things we have more and more obese adults in this country. If we look back at 2015, there was about 26.3% of the population, adult population, who were classified as obese. It's now up to 34.4%. And it's more men than women. So men are at 41.4% and women are at 23% when it comes to obesity rates.
Right.
And when it comes to men around my age, in their 30s and 40s, it's 53.1%. Come on, guys. We need to lose a little weight, perhaps. So yes, so we're seeing more and more people being classified as obese. But the interesting thing is when you look at some people who are classified as obese, athletes sometimes are, but that's because they have a lot of muscle.
Yeah.
If you're going from the BMI index, it can be a little misleading. So there is hope. We just need to train more. Get to the gym.
그래요. 성인 3명 중 1명이 비만이라고 합니다. 특히 30대, 40대 남성 같은 경우에는 50% 이상이 비만이라는 통계가 나왔고요. 2024년 데이터를 이제 가장 최근에 분석해서 내놓은 건데 전체 성인 중에는 34%가 비만이고 그다음에 이제 성비로 보게 되면은 남성이 41%, 여성이 23%, 성비가 아니죠. 성별로 나눠서 보게 되면은 남성 중에는 41%가 비만, 여성 중에는 23%가 비만이라고 합니다. 자, 표현을 좀 볼게요. This figure has been steadily rising over the years.
Yes, and if something does something or is happening steadily, it means it's continuing in that fashion or at that pace. There's no major change. There could be a little bit of fluctuation, but it's generally going up or going down or continuing in the same way.
It's not drastic. It's not going up like this or down like that. It's going bit by bit by bit.
Yes, so unfortunately, some men in their 30s and 40s see their weight steadily rising as the years go by, but we should be looking to steadily decrease our weight.
그래요. 자, steadily라는 것은 차근차근이 될 수도 있고 꾸준히가 될 수도 있고요. 이게 급격하지 않다라는 느낌입니다. 그래서 우리나라의 성인 비만율도 계속 이제 과거의 데이터를 보게 되면 조금씩 오르고 있는 추세다. What about people who are classified as something?
Well, if we classify something, we're going to put it in a box. We're going to put it in a category.
Yeah.
So to be classified as or to be categorized as, this means we're put into whatever box it may be. In this case, it's obese and not obese. So yes, I'm classified as obese.
Okay.
It's true, Sue! Why deny it?
Classified as something. 무엇으로 분류된다. obese는 비만인데요. 이 스펠링이 O-B-E-S-E, obese고요. 명사 형태는 obesity, O-B-E-S-I-T-Y가 되겠습니다. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. The obesity rate among Korean adults has risen steadily over the past decade to nearly 35%, with more than half of all men in their 30s and 40s now classified as obese.
Swiss voters have rejected a far-right proposal to cap the country's population at 10 million, with nearly 55% voting against the controversial referendum dubbed the Swiss Brexit.
스위스에서 인구를 1,000만 명 이하로 제한하는 내용의 국민투표 안건이 부결됐습니다. 일명 스위스 브렉시트라 불리며 논란이 된 이번 투표는 자국 내 극우 진영에서 발의한 것으로 투표 참여 유권자의 약 55%가 반대표를 던진 것으로 알려졌습니다. What do we know?
Oh, this was a very big deal. On Sunday, I saw that in some areas they were preparing for unrest, perhaps on voting day, and there was a little bit of tension. People were worried and wondering what was going to happen. This was set up by the far-right Swiss People's Party, and they wanted to force the government to limit the population. It's at 9.1 million now, but limit it to 10 million by 2050. However, if the population, if Switzerland had voted for that, that would have had all sorts of consequences in terms of being part of Europe, because Switzerland is sort of separate, but also together. They have free market access, but that might have been terminated. Free movement could have been terminated, all sorts of things. So the government, the coalition government at the moment, and various business groups were campaigning against this. They were saying vote no. Yeah. At the end of the day, there was a turnout of 58.86%, and almost 55% of voters said no. So the proposal has failed. We'll see what happens, but certainly it feels like there's a lot of tension when it comes to population size, when it comes to immigration, when it comes to asylum, and this is not just in Switzerland. We're seeing this all over Europe at the moment. Certainly in the UK, it's a big discussion, and elsewhere as well.
You say immigration, and I guess that's why they're calling it the Swiss Brexit.
Yes.
Because immigration had quite a lot to do with why Britain wanted to leave the EU in the first place. Not the only reason. But,
but the funny thing is that there have been more immigrating to the UK since Brexit. Numbers have been up. So it's all very interesting. It's all very worrying for some people because it's the future of a country. We'll see what happens. And certainly we'll see all over the world because it seems like this is becoming a bigger and bigger issue, at least in Europe.
그래요. 2050년까지 스위스 인구를 1,000만 명으로 제한하자라는 안건이었어요. 그런데 이게 부결이 됐습니다. 그러니까 우파 정당 측에서 내놓은 안건인데 이민자들이 너무나 많다 보니까 이제 여러 가지 문제들이 있다라는 이제 문제 제기를 했고 어떻게 보면은 영국의 브렉시트 때와 조금 비슷한 기조로 이제 안건을 내놓다 보니 그래서 스위스 브렉시트다 뭐 이런 별명까지 붙여지기는 했지만 부결이 됐습니다. Alright, let's have a look at to reject something.
No, let's not look at it.
Are you going to reject?
I'm going to refuse. I'm going to say no. I'm going to push that suggestion away.
Oh dear.
I am rejecting it. Okay. Yes, and if we reject something, we say no. We don't agree to it. We don't let it happen. Yeah. We stop it in some way. Whatever it is, we're refusing it.
거부하다, 거절하다의 의미예요. 그래서 사실은 이제 이 투표가 부결됐다라는 얘기를 좀 돌려서 하는 겁니다. 그래서 스위스의 유권자들이 이런 안건을 거절했습니다. 이렇게 표현을 하고 있는 거예요. So the opposite would be the voters have accepted the proposal.
Yes. Certainly, yes. You can go for more, more emphatic terms. Welcome the proposal.
Okay, yeah.
Agree to the proposal, sure. But accepted, rejected. I think these two are a good pair.
좋아요. 자, 그 다음에 controversial 보겠습니다.
Something is controversial, it's going to cause controversy. It's going to cause disagreements. It's going to cause arguments. It's going to cause a lot of talk and maybe a lot of anger or a lot of upset. So we can have a controversial debate. You can have a controversial movie, a controversial book, something that is creating a lot of discussion, but not just happy discussion. There's going to be arguments. There's going to be people on either side fighting over it.
Exactly. Controversial, 논란이 많다라는 뜻인데요. 이 논란, controversy라고 발음하기도 하고 controversy라고 발음하기도 합니다. 강세가 다른데요. 둘 다 가능하고 논란이 많은 국민투표였어요. 그래서 referendum, 국민투표. And if something is voted for or voted against, of course, that means the people accept it or they refuse it or they reject it.
Yes.
So these are all expressions you can think of together. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. Swiss voters have rejected a far-right proposal to cap the country's population at 10 million, with nearly 55% voting against the controversial referendum dubbed the Swiss Brexit. Let's move on to the next headline.
Millions of rare pink sea cucumbers have washed ashore at a beach in eastern Thailand, turning the coastline pink and prompting a local government investigation into the rare natural phenomenon.
You okay there?
I just had a little hiccup.
네. 태국 동부의 한 해변에 희귀한 분홍색 해삼 수백만 마리가 밀려오면서 해변 수백 미터 구간이 붉은색으로 뒤덮이는 보기 드문 현상이 발생해 현지 당국이 조사에 나섰습니다. What's happening?
Well, they washed up at Swanson Beach in Rayong province on June 11th, and there's a lot of them. They're pink, thorny sea cucumbers, people are being advised not to step on them, not to touch them, be careful, because they can actually cause irritation.
Yeah,
they can set your skin itching.
The pictures look a little scary, I have to say, as there's so many of them.
Yes, but these things sometimes happen, and with the climate crisis, we're seeing these natural weather events happening, and that seems to be the case here. There have been strong winds, waves, there have been rough currents, and these seem to be the cause of these sea cucumbers being washed up on shore.
네, 최근에 강한 바람과 파도 등 이런 이제 기상 악화로 인해서 이 해삼이 해안으로 떠밀려 온 것으로 이렇게 추정이 되고요. 사람에게 치명적이진 않지만 그래도 만지게 되면은 피부 가려움증이 생길 수 있으니까 만지지 말라고 합니다. Alright, let's have a look at 해삼. In English is sea cucumber.
Yes, the green ones are delicious.
Yes, that's the normal ones. These are pink. What about to be washed ashore?
If something is washed ashore, the waves have brought it onto the beach. Nobody has put it there. It hasn't been flown there. It hasn't been driven there. It's been pushed there by the water.
네, 해안으로 밀려오다, 떠밀려오다. To be washed ashore. A가 shore 앞에 붙어요. Ashore. What about coastline?
Oh, the coastline is the area of the coast that stretches up and around whatever part of a country we're talking about. Here, it's a relatively short stretch of coastline. It's several hundred meters. But we can talk about the coastline of southern Korea or the coastline of western Korea, eastern Korea, for example.
그렇죠. 해안선을 coastline이라고 합니다. 그래서 해안 그러면 coast가 되겠죠. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. Millions of rare pink sea cucumbers have washed ashore at a beach in eastern Thailand, turning the coastline pink and prompting a local government investigation into the rare natural phenomenon. Now let's move on to our final headline.
A Harvard University study reveals that middle-aged men who can perform 40 or more push-ups have a 96% lower risk of cardiovascular disease compared to those who can manage fewer than 10.
중년 남성을 대상으로 한 미국 하버드대 연구에서 팔굽혀펴기를 40회 이상 수행한 그룹은 10회 미만 그룹보다 심혈관 질환 발병 위험이 96%나 낮은 것으로 나타났습니다. Right, so the more you can do, the better.
Basically, the lower the risk of coronary artery disease and heart failure. If you can do more than 40, you've got a 96% lower risk. If you can do between 21 and 40, you've got a 75% lower risk. If you can do 11 to 20, you've got a 64% lower risk. If you can't do more than 10, well, you need to get to the gym. You need to start exercising. There's a higher risk for you. And it's really interesting. It seems that the ability, the capacity to do push-ups is strongly associated with cardiovascular disease. It's also associated with things like a lower BMI, more stable blood pressure, and just higher physical activity, which is what I need.
I believe they traced the activities of these people over 10 years. So it was, not just a one-time thing.
No. And so we'll have to see. It was, I think it was a relatively smaller study. It was only 1,104 of them. And they were all firefighters. So it's a very particular part of a population. But I think it's generally going to be good advice. If you can do more than 40 push-ups, it means you're in pretty good health. And especially as you get to our age, Sue, we need to be fit.
We do. 자, 한 1,100명 정도의 소방대원을 상대로 10년 동안 데이터를 추적해본 결과 이렇게 팔굽혀펴기를 40개 이상 했을 때는요, 심혈관 질환 위험이 96%나 감소하는데 그 비교군이 이제 10개도 못하는 10개 미만으로 하는 그룹과 비교했을 때 96% 이상 심혈관 질환 위험이 감소하고 만약에 한 21개에서 40개 정도 한다. 그럼 75% 감소. 또 11개에서 20개 정도의 팔굽혀펴기를 할 경우에는 10개 미만으로 하는 사람에 비해서 64%나 그래도 심혈관 질환 위험이 감소한다라는 이런 이제 데이터가 나왔습니다. 자, 중년의 남성을 대상으로 했다. This was an experiment, a sort of study, I guess, targeted at middle-aged men.
Yes, me. I'm a middle-aged man. I'm never quite sure when middle-age begins and ends because it seems to change as the years go by.
Yeah.
I would put it 40 to 60 as a rough estimate.
Yeah.
Some people might say 35.
Maybe 40 to 50? I don't know.
Are you saying over 50
No,
is old
not 40,
age?
No, I mean 40s and 50s. Oh, that's the same as 40 to 60.
Yes, that is.
Sorry.
You're getting me worried. I was thinking I'm going to be an old man in 2 years.
We were saying the same thing, just different expression.
Yeah, I think approximately people will quibble over this.
Yes,
Some people will add a year here or take off a year there. But I think if you're in your 40s or your 50s, you're counted as middle-aged.
Yeah, I think definitely in the past, people would say that, 30s were also middle-aged. But these days, no.
No, I think not.
Yeah.
And even 60 is still pretty young in many people's eyes.
True. 그래요. 뭐 기준은 다 다를 수 있지만 어쨌든 중년이다라고 할 때는 middle-aged. What about to manage something?
If you can manage something or manage to do something, you're able to do it. You can handle it, you can bear it, you could endure it, whatever it may be. If you can't manage, well, you're not able to.
네. 뭔가 해낸다는 뜻이에요. To manage to do a push-up. And manage to finish this project. Or manage to do something. Manage to explain what manage means.
You managed that quite well.
Thank you very much. 그래서 해내다라는 뜻이 되겠습니다. 특히 이 팔굽혀펴기, 영어로는 push-up이라고 하죠. 이게 뭐 러닝머신, 트레드밀에서 뛰는 것보다 어떻게 보면 심혈관 위험을 추적하는데 더 유용했다라는 뭐 그런 내용도 있었는데요. 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. A Harvard University study reveals that middle-aged men who can perform 40 or more push-ups have a 96% lower risk of cardiovascular disease compared to those who can manage fewer than 10. All right. Well, that's it for our headlines this morning with Paul Matthews.
Korea's international flight surcharges for July tickets are expected to drop by more than 20% to level 19, down 8 notches from the current level 27, according to airline industry sources.
항공업계에 따르면은 7월 우리나라 국제선 항공권의 유류 할증료가 이달보다 20% 이상 낮아져 지금의 27단계보다 8단계 낮아진 19단계 요금이 적용될 전망입니다. Well, this is good news.
Good news if you're a traveler, yeah.
So tell us more.
Well, this 20% drop is due to a drop in global oil prices. So the decrease is due to a decline in something called the average mean of Platts Singapore or MOPS price. And this is the benchmark for jet fuel in the Asia Pacific. Now, some of the good news for people in Korea, domestic carriers plan to adjust their fuel charges based on this tier change. And this month, Korean Air charged a one-way fuel surcharge of between a minimum of 61,500 won and a maximum of 451,500 won, depending on the route. Now, next month in July, it plans to charge between 46,400 won and 344,000 won. So if you're traveling, if you're getting flight tickets, you're flying somewhere, you're going to save a bit of money. So
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
great news.
It is very good news indeed for travelers. 여행 계획하고 계신 분들에게는 희소식이 아닐 수 없죠. 요즘에 유류 할증료 때문에 비행기를 타 마라 고민이 많이 됐었는데요. 이 싱가포르 항공유의 가격이 전월에 비해서 17% 정도 떨어진 덕분에 유류 할증료도 조금씩 내려갑니다. 항공료에 따라서 아무래도 이 유류 할증료도 달라지겠지만, 적게는 몇만 원, 또 많게는 몇십만 원 정도 내려갈 수 있다고 하니까요. 한번 이제 유심히 보시면서 여행 계획 짜보시면 될 것 같고요. 이렇게 가격이 떨어졌을 때, we can use the simple verb to drop when we talk about prices. Right?
And that would just mean a reduction in price. Prices fell. Think about like if you're holding something in your hand and you drop it, it falls to a lower level.
Yeah.
So that's how you can use drop.
Yes, exactly.
You can talk about any numbers, right? You can talk about a drop in prices. You can say you've dropped some weight, for example.
그러네요. 요즘에 살이 좀 빠졌어 라고 할 때도 I've dropped some weight 이렇게 표현할 수 있고 가격이 떨어졌어. The prices have dropped 할 수 있고요. 유류 할증료가 이제 또 역시 조금 내려간다. Flight surcharges are expected to drop.
The modern usage of drop is when something new is released or launched. So you can talk about like when does the new album drop? Or the new video, like a famous YouTuber, they'll drop videos on certain days, or even fashion.
Okay.
When's that new drop? Like for sneakers or new clothing lines.
When's it coming out?
Yeah, when's the drop?
When's
it
the
drops
drop?
on Wednesday or something like that.
Is that what you say? When's the drop? 오, 오늘 또 새로운 거 하나 배웠어요. 그러니까 언제 출시가 되느냐라는 뜻인데 요즘 표현으로 when's the drop? I'm going to write this down.
Yeah, when does that drop? Yeah, it's a real kind of modern term, modern usage of it.
그렇군요. 좋습니다. 이런 것까지. 자, what about down 8 notches? What does notch mean?
So it's like a level on a scale. So like the easiest way to think about it, I think I can think of two examples. Think about when you're increasing the volume on your TV or your phone.
Sure.
You push it. Each time you push the button is a notch up or a notch down.
Yeah.
Then the other one is think about like on a belt. You have notches on a belt.
Yes.
So if you drop some weight, then you're going to move the belt buckle down a notch or two.
That's true.
If on the opposite, if you gain some weight, you might have to move that belt buckle up a notch or two.
그러네요. 자, 눈금이 될 수도 있고, 벨트에서는 한 칸? 이런 게도 될 수 있겠어요. 그래서 if you drop some weight, 살이 빠지면, then you can go down a few notches on your belt. But if you gain weight, you have to do the opposite. Go up a few notches.
I remember as a kid, on your bicycle, your seat can move up or down.
Oh, yeah.
So as you get taller, you move your seat down a few
down,
notches,
that's right? Yes, yeah.
So then it kind of, always felt, I'm going to move my seat down one notch or two.
I'm getting bigger.
Yeah. Or at the gym, you sit on a stationary bike. You're going to have to adjust the seat up or down a couple notches.
Exactly. 그러네요. 이제 좌석을 이렇게 올리고 내리고 할 때도 이게 눈금 같은 게 있잖아요. 그럴 때도 move it up a notch, up a few notches, down a few notches. 이렇게 표현할 수 있습니다.
Just think about a scale, right? So you're moving to a higher level or a lower level.
Got it. 자, 단계라는 뜻이 또 있기도 하고요. 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Korea's international flight surcharges for July tickets are expected to drop by more than 20% to level 19, down 8 notches from the current level 27, according to airline industry sources. Let's move on to headline number 2.
The Seoul Outdoor Library is launching a pilot service that will allow visitors to access 200,000 ebooks for 5 days without registering as a member after on-site GPS location verification.
서울 야외도서관은 현장에서 GPS 기반 위치 인증을 완료하면 별도 회원 가입 없이 약 20만 종 규모의 전자책 콘텐츠를 5일간 이용할 수 있는 서비스를 시범 운영한다고 밝혔습니다. Alright, so we're talking about the Gwanghwamun Plaza, Seoul Plaza, and Cheonggae Plaza as well. Is that right?
Yeah, Cheonggyecheon. Or Cheonggye Stream,
Yeah.
if we wanted to say it in English. So
Okay.
these have all become the central hubs for the city's outdoor reading initiative.
Yeah.
Now, officials said that, and this is quite cool, that users just have to access these free books, once they go there, once they're on site, they can just scan a QR code and complete a GPS-based location verification process. And then you don't have to do any other additional signups. So that's quite cool.
Yeah.
The other thing that really jumped out to me is this program will also include multilingual ebooks. And this is aimed at foreign visitors and residents in Korea. And this reflects the growing international use
Yeah.
of these outdoor libraries in Seoul. But, I also thought, maybe some kids or maybe some of our listeners want to read English books or maybe they're studying other languages.
Why not?
So it's not just for foreigners. It could be for locals as well.
그러네요. 다양한 그런 원서도 함께 읽어보실 수 있을 것 같고요. 이게 이제 지금 얘기한 서울 야외도서관, 그러니까 서울광장, 광화문광장, 청계광장에서 이 독서 존이 있는데요. 그래서 그 QR 코드를 찍어서 그다음에 이제 도서를 볼 수 있는 별도의 가입 절차나 이런 거 없이 할 수 있는 그런 서비스를 제공한다고 합니다. 5일 동안 제공이 되네요. This is really interesting. Okay, let's have a look at the expressions. The first one is pilot service.
Yeah, so this is a test version of something. So
Right.
if you watch any TV shows, if you put on the first episode, it'll say pilot.
Right.
So that's the episode that they made to test and show the network or show the studio, and they probably tested on audiences to see if it's like proof of concept. So you're testing something.
맞아요. 그래서 시범 프로그램도 이제 pilot, show, pilot program 이렇게 부르기도 해요. 프렌즈 같은 경우에도 이제 결국은 10년 동안이나 롱런을 하게 됐지만 첫 이제 파일럿 쇼가 나갔을 때만 해도 이게 과연 1회 이상 우리가 갈 수 있을까 없을까 알지 못하는 상태로 시작을 했다고 합니다. So even the most successful TV shows, they once had a time when, you know, there was just a pilot show. They didn't know if they were going to continue or get cancelled. They had no
Or picked
idea.
up even, right?
Yeah,
That's
right.
more what it is. It's like,
Yeah.
is the network, okay, we like this show, we like these characters. And sometimes you'll even see they'll make adjustments from when the actual full season drops. They'll sometimes there's slight changes.
Yeah, definitely. 자, 그래서 지금 이것도 시범 운영을 하는 그런 이제 도서 서비스이기 때문에 pilot service라고 표현을 했고요. And you can get these books, you can read these books on site.
So that means at the place where something's happening.
Right,
So,
right.
sometimes there'll be managers or your boss might show up on site. Especially a lot of times this is used for like construction sites, places where people are working.
On site라는 거는요. 현장에서라는 의미가 있어서 on-site 하고 나서 이제 뒤에 뭔지를 설명을 한다든지 아니면은 지금 레이 선생님 말씀하신 것처럼 my manager appeared on site. 이제 현장에 오셨어. 이런 의미로도 쓸 수 있겠죠.
And then the construction work, there's people that are doing work off-site as well. So you might have managers or engineers.
Yeah,
They're doing some other work. And the interesting thing is site is spelled S-I-T-E. And that means a place. But there's another modern phrase that people use now. They'll say, usually it's if you don't like somebody or you have a problem with someone, you'll say, people will write like, if I see you, it's on site. And then it's S-I-G-H-T, and it means we're going to fight if I see you. So on site, we're going to have some fight or an argument.
그러면 이런 거네요. 우리 실제로 만나면은 너 큰일 날 줄 알아? 이런 느낌으로 If I see you,
It's
then
on site.
It's on site.
And it means we're going to fight as soon as I see
진짜요?
you.
와, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I've learned 2 new things today. 약간 이것도 좀 큰 코 다친다 이런 느낌도 있을 것 같기도 하고요. 너 큰일 날 줄 알아. 요런 표현이 있군요. 근데 그때는 이제 스펠링은 다르대요. on하고 S-I-G-H-T. 사이트 그렇게 쓴답니다. Is that right?
Yeah.
GHT.
Yeah. So it's the spelling's different and the
그래요,
meaning
그래요.
is quite different too.
그러네요. 아, 재밌습니다. 자, 그러면 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. The Seoul Outdoor Library is launching a pilot service that will allow visitors to access 200,000 ebooks for 5 days without registering as a member after on-site GPS location verification.
The Bank of Japan has announced it would increase its short-term policy interest rate by 1/4 of a percentage point to 1%, marking the first time in 31 years that the country's benchmark interest rate has crossed the 1% threshold.
일본 중앙은행인 일본은행이 단기 정책 금리를 기존 0.75%에서 0.25%포인트 올린 1%로 결정했습니다. 일본 기준금리가 1%대에 진입한 것은 1995년 이후 31년 만의 일입니다. Alright. So, tell us what we know. The key interest rate in Japan has been going up steadily and now it's at 1%.
Right. So on Tuesday, the Bank of Japan, or BOJ,
Yep.
as I will refer to it later, it raised its short-term policy interest rate to 1% from 0.75%, and this level has not been seen since 1995. Japan has had historically low interest rates for the last 3 decades.
Yeah.
Now, the hike was expected as higher oil prices and a weaker yen are fueling inflation. Now, Japan's wholesale prices climbed by more than 6% in May compared to a year earlier, rising at the fastest pace in 3 years. Now, this is a sign that companies are already passing on higher costs from the energy shock in business-to-business transactions. That's what wholesale prices mean. Now, the central bank said that this could quickly spread to an increase in consumer prices across a wide range of items, and that's why they've taken this step. Now, Japan's overall inflation rate in April was 1.4%, and that is below the BOJ's target of 2%. But with this type of thing, there's always a lag. And even one thing to keep in mind is even with this hike, Japan's interest rates remain quite very low compared to other big economies. So the US and the UK, for example, they currently have interest rates above 3%. And both of those central banks are expected to keep their rate steady when they meet this week.
그래요. 자, 일본에서 물가 상승 위험을 좀 억제하고자 또 채권 시장 안정을 고려한 그 조치로 이렇게 금리를 1%로 올렸습니다. 계속해서 이제 조금씩 올리는 모습이었는데 예전에는 2024년 초에만 해도 마이너스 금리 또 0% 이러기도 했는데요. 지금 1%까지 올라왔습니다. Alright. Now, when we talk about this interest rate, we see the word benchmark in front of it. What does that mean?
Well, in central banking, the benchmark rate is the main interest rate that the central bank quotes, and then that's used as a reference for other interest rates in the economy. So mortgage rates, credit card rates, all other rates. If they move their benchmark rate up, then you'll be paying more. If they move it down, you're going to save a little bit of money yourself on certain things.
Yeah.
But a benchmark in general is something that's used as a standard for comparison or to measure performance. So certain companies, their results could be used as a benchmark in that industry. Certain products can be used as a benchmark for quality.
그래요. 기준이라는 뜻입니다. 스탠더드라는 느낌이라고 보시면 되겠죠. 기준 금리, benchmark interest rate. Sometimes it's just more commonly called the key interest rate.
Sure.
But it means the same thing in this case. And what about crossing the threshold?
So a threshold is a level or a point that's considered important when it's reached or crossed.
Right.
In this case, the 1%, maybe it's just kind of psychological because they haven't hit 1%
Right.
in 3 decades. But sometimes if you cross certain thresholds, it may trigger a change. So I always think you can think of like tax thresholds. Once you hit a certain number, a certain point in your income, you'll have to pay more tax.
이것도 일종의 기준이긴 한데요. 원래는 문턱, 문지방이라는 뜻이 있어요. 그래서 일정 수치를 넘어섰을 때 그럴 때 쓰는 표현입니다. 지금은 이제 1%대에 진입했다는 뜻으로 그 문턱을 넘어섰다. 이렇게 it has crossed the 1% threshold라고 표현을 하고 있는데요. You can talk about pain threshold as
Sure.
well.
Yeah.
And if you have a very high pain threshold, that means you can endure a lot of pain. But if your pain threshold is very low, then you're not very good with pain.
That's right.
그래요. 이런 식으로 내가 견딜 수 있는 정도를 또 이제 pain, 고통 threshold로 표현을 할 수도 있습니다. 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. The Bank of Japan has announced it would increase its short-term policy interest rate by 0.25 percentage point to 1%, marking the first time in 31 years that the country's benchmark interest rate has crossed the 1% threshold. Let's move on to the next headline.
The UK government has announced plans to implement a sweeping ban on social media for children under 16 by spring of next year, alongside tighter regulations on gaming and live streaming services.
영국 정부가 16세 미만 청소년의 소셜 네트워크 서비스 이용을 내년 봄부터 전면 금지하고 추가적으로 게임 플랫폼과 라이브 스트리밍 서비스에 대해서도 규제를 강화하는 법안을 추진한다고 발표했습니다. Right, so no social media or less in the UK. Tell us more.
That's right. So British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said on Monday that he would ban social media sites for children under 16 and impose certain restrictions on gaming and live streaming platforms. And this is a big fight back against big tech. And this goes further than any other country that has done this before, namely Australia would be one of the other big ones. They seem to be really using Australia as kind of a blueprint for this and even going further. Starmer said he told reporters that these sweeping changes will, quote, give kids their childhood back. And he outlined measures against Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and X, as well as gaming sites that allow strangers to contact children, which that is definitely something to keep, so that is something that is quite worrisome when you hear about it. However, services designed for children and education, such as YouTube Kids, will not be affected by the ban, he said. Now, some experts doubted whether this blanket ban would actually be effective. Starmer acknowledged it would be difficult to fully enforce these restrictions. The ban will likely require age checks to be expanded to all users.
그래요. 나이 확인 등을 통해서 이렇게 16세 미만 영국 청소년들은 이제 소셜미디어 사용을 하지 못하도록 하겠다는 내용입니다. 그 대상에는 틱톡, 인스타그램, 페이스북, 유튜브, 스냅챗, X 등이 포함되어 있고요. 메신저 앱은 제외가 됐다고 해요. 그 외에도 이제 앞으로 게임, 그다음에 오픈 채팅이라든지 라디오 방송, 라이브 방송, 라디오 방송이 아니라 라이브 방송 같은 것들, 이런 것들에 대한 규제도 이제 앞으로 확대를 할 거라고 합니다. 영국의 많은 부모들이 10명 중에 9명 정도가 이런 움직임에 찬성표를 던지고 있다고 해요. Right, so you said earlier on it was a blanket ban, or it says in the headline a sweeping ban. Can you tell us what sweeping ban means?
Well, in general, a ban is when something is not allowed anymore. It's prohibited. So if you're banned from a place, you're not allowed to go there. You could cause problems at a restaurant or something, and then they'll say, you're banned. You're not allowed in here anymore. Or something could be banned, a certain item, you're not allowed to sell it anymore. Now, a simple ban in this case would be maybe just one of these social media sites is banned. Like, let's just say TikTok is banned. Because Trump has talked about that before in the States. That would just be a narrow ban or a simple ban. This one thing's not allowed. But in this case, a sweeping ban, it's very broad. This includes many things in this category anyways, and it also applies to a large group of people. Everybody under 16 years old.
Right.
So it's this very broad and extensive ban.
스위핑이라는 거는요, 이렇게 휩쓸고 지나가는 그런 모션을 생각하시면 돼요. 그렇기 때문에 전면적인 금지입니다. 그냥 한두 개의 소셜미디어 사이트를 못 쓰는 게 하는 게 아니라 굉장히 많이, 그냥 거의 다 못 쓰게 하는 거죠.
Yeah, it's good to think about sweeping something. You don't just pick up one little thing when you sweep the floor. You collect everything.
그렇죠.
So that's what they're doing here. This ban just all social media sites off the table.
자, 그다음에 alongside.
That means next to or together with something. So that's what they're saying here is that the social media sites will be banned as well as there'll be tighter regulations on gaming and live streaming. Both of these things will happen together.
네, 함께라는 뜻으로 alongside something. 다시 읽어볼게요. The UK government has announced plans to implement a sweeping ban on social media for children under 16 by spring of next year, alongside tighter regulations on gaming and live streaming services. Now let's move on to our final headline.
The reflecting pool in Washington, D.C. has turned into a murky green algae latte due to high summer temperatures and humidity, sparking controversy just after a renovation project costing more than $14 million, aimed at giving it a premium flag blue appearance.
미국 워싱턴 DC의 명소인 대형 인공 연못 Reflecting Pool이 여름철 높은 기온과 습도로 인해 퍼진 조류로 일명 녹조 라떼처럼 탁하게 변했습니다. 이 현상은 $1,400만 넘는 예산을 들여 물이 성조기에 파란색으로 비치도록 보수 공사를 진행한 직후 발생해 논란이 되고 있습니다. What happened to the blue people were promised?
Yeah, well, the algae returned,
Yeah.
right? So during this project, the pool was drained and a blue waterproof coating was applied to the concrete floor, and these special devices were actually installed that are, intended to prevent this algae growth. And
Yeah.
the total investment cost $14.2 million.
A lot of money.
Yeah, and then as temperatures soared above 30 degrees Celsius there with humidity, the algae quickly spread across the surface. Tourists were saying it looks swamp-like, and it doesn't reflect anything like its name.
Right.
And this isn't the first time they've done this. So in 2012, they actually spent $34 million on this renovation, and the same thing happened.
I guess it's hard to keep the water clean.
Yeah, because
or
they're saying
clear.
that it's because it's the pool is very shallow.
That's why.
And with the sunlight on it and the humidity, the algae just spreads.
Well, this was right where Martin Luther King in 1963, he made the I Have a Dream speech as
Right.
well. So it's a very well-known place. Everyone who goes there
I think in
is a tourist.
Forrest Gump, he jumps in it.
Oh, right. It
When
does,
he's
doesn't
a
it?
Jenny, and he
Yes.
runs into it.
So it was in a movie.
Yeah, it's in lots of movies, I think.
Yeah, many movies. People who go here, they always take pictures with this
Sure.
in the background. So
Yeah.
it's a very well-known tourist attraction. But it's supposed to be blue, but it's currently green. Not a clean, clear green, but a sort of latte green.
Ugh.
Yeah. 투명하지 않은 그런 약간 탁한 초록색이 지금 돼 있다고 합니다. 자, 그 조류를 지금 제거 중이라고 미국 정부가 밝히기는 했습니다만 이 탁하다. 영어로 murky.
So murky in this case, when you're talking about water, dark and dirty water, but it's also used in news and just in everyday language to mean when something is unclear, details of something. The details are murky, don't really know what's going on.
정확히 어떻게 된 일인지 알 수가 없네요. 라고 할 때도 the details are murky. 마치 물속을 보는데 탁한 물을 보는 것처럼 제대로 이 정보가 제공이 되거나 공개되지 않았을 때 그렇게 표현을 할 수도 있습니다. Now what about to spark controversy?
Controversy or controversy.
Yes.
Yeah, both are correct. It's when people, like to spark something means to trigger something or to start something. Controversy is when there's lots of public disagreement. Not just debate, people are arguing about it. And that's what's happening here. People that don't like Trump or the Trump administration, you spent all this money and you didn't even, it's right back to being green. And Trump is saying, yeah, well, in 2012, Obama spent more than twice as much as I did and the same thing happened. So both sides are arguing as they do about everything in the States and pretty much everywhere in the world, I guess.
여러 가지 정치적인 논란을 불러일으키고 있군요. 그래서 논란을 불러일으킬 때 spark, controversy 해도 되고 controversy 해도 됩니다.
Controversy sounds better.
Do you think so?
That sounds fancier anyways.
All right. Well, here's the headline again. The reflecting pool in Washington, D.C. has turned into a murky green algae latte due to high summer temperatures and humidity, sparking controversy just after a renovation project costing more than $14 million aimed at giving it a premium flag blue appearance. Well, that's it for the headlines with Ray.
The British Museum is launching its first major exhibition dedicated to Korean art and history in over 40 years, set to run from this October through January of next year.
영국박물관이 42년 만에 대규모 한국 특별전을 개최합니다. 한국 미술과 역사를 집중적으로 선보이게 될 이 전시는 오는 10월부터 내년 1월까지 진행될 예정입니다. Great news.
Absolutely. It is titled Korea, and it will be the first of its kind in 42 years, running from October 1st until January 31st of next year.
Yeah. I mean, Korea is sort of the big it thing.
The hot,
the hot thing across the world
hot
right now.
Culture.
Yeah,
that's right.
Definitely.
I was watching an interview. Of course, Jensen Huang recently visited Korea, and he was speaking, I believe, at Seoul National University, and he was saying, you know, it's like K everything, K-pop, K-food, K everything, and then somebody shouted out, K. Jensen. and then everyone started chanting K. Jensen.
Really? Okay.
So he was actually really kind of flattered by that. But as you mentioned, K everything, including K museums now.
Exactly. The last time they had a Korea-themed exhibition at the British Museum was apparently in 1984. So as you said, you know, it's been 42 years. Took a while, but, yeah, here it is.
And they're going to cover over 2,000 years of Korean cultural history, dating way back to 300 BC. So, we're going to have some amazing items. My son would probably love to go because he loves going to Korean museums.
그러니까요. 기회가 되면 좀 가보면 좋을 텐데. 기원전 300년부터 현대까지 한 2000년에 걸친 그런 한국의 미술을 영국 박물관에서 볼 수 있다고 합니다. 예전에는 우리가 이제 대형 박물관 그랬었는데요. 요즘에는 이제 그게 이제 Great Britain이 연상이 되기 때문에 영국 박물관이라고 좀 다르게 번역을 하잖아요. 보면 굉장히 흥미로워요. 이렇게 이름들도 번역이 시대에 따라서 politically correct 하기 위해서 좀 바뀌는 게 흥미롭습니다. Alright, let's have a look at some expressions. This exhibition is dedicated to Korean art.
Yeah, if something is dedicated to something, it's the reason that you're doing it. It could also be dedicated to someone in terms of to honor them as well. So you could say like, you know, I'm writing this book, I'm dedicating this book to this person who was influential in my life.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, it's kind of, you know, all of the items on display at this museum will be of, you know, Korean culture and heritage and stuff like that. So it's kind of the reason, the purpose of the exhibition.
무엇 전용이다, 무엇을 위한 것이다라는 뜻이죠. 그래서 this exhibition is dedicated to Korean art. 이번 전시는 한국 미술을 조명하는 그런 전시가 되겠습니다. And it will run from October through January.
Yeah, it just means that it's going to happen from this period to this period. If you think of like running, though, it's kind of like it's inclusive of a time period, right? Sort of like if you're moving, if you're running, you're actually going from point A to point B. So in the same sort of way, like it's going from these dates, from this time until this time. There's like a movement involved.
Exactly. 그래서 이제 기간을 얘기할 때요, 얼마 기간 동안 계속됩니다 라고 할 때 it runs from 날짜 to 날짜 이런 식으로 얘기를 많이 해요. 그래서 지금 it runs from October 1st through January 31st next year 이렇게 보면 되겠습니다. 자, 다시 한번 헤드라인 읽어볼게요. The British Museum is launching its first major exhibition dedicated to Korean art and history in over 40 years, set to run from this October through January of next year. Let's move on to the next headline.
The Grammys are adding 5 new categories, headlined by a new award honoring artistic excellence in Asian pop music performances, such as K-pop, that are originating from or widely recognized within Asian markets.
미국 대중음악 시상식인 그래미 어워즈가 5개 부문 상을 신설했습니다. 이 중 가장 눈에 띄는 것은 베스트 아시안 팝 뮤직 퍼포먼스 부문으로 아시아 출신 및 현지에서 인정받는 음악을 대상으로 K-팝 등 아시아 대중음악의 예술적 탁월함을 보여준 사례에 수여됩니다. Okay, again, we're seeing more prevalence of Asia in Western countries. Tell us more.
Absolutely. So, of course, Golden at this year's Grammy won an award for it wasn't for Song of the Year, which it was nominated for, but it did take home Best Song Written for Visual Media. Obviously, it would have been a strong contender in this new category, which will start next year. Other categories that have been announced, Best R&B Collaboration or Duo Group, Best Traditional Pop Vocal Performance, Best Traditional Folk Album, and Best Latin Song categories have been added as well.
그래요. 이렇게 5개의 새로운 부문이 만들어졌고요. 그 중에서 지금 얘기한 것처럼 이제 그 아시안 퍼포먼스에 특히 상을 하나 준다라는 것은 이제 K-팝 뿐만 아니라 뭐 J-pop, C-pop 에게도 어떻게 보면 좀 더 상을 받을 수 있는 기회를 더 준다고 볼 수 있겠고 한 외신에서는 방탄소년단에게 특히 더 좋은 소식이다. 이렇게 말하기도 했는데요. 네, 기대가 됩니다. 내년에. 자, 그러면은 표현 볼게요. Artistic intelligence.
Artistic excellence.
Oh, sorry. Artistic excellence. I'm so used to looking at artificial intelligence. I thought that's what I was seeing. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Artistic excellence.
Excellence. Yeah. So, I mean, artistic is kind of like the adjective or adverb version of art, right?
Yeah.
So we're talking about art in this particular place. And what are we talking about? Well, excellence meaning how great something is. And so, yeah, it's how good or great this artsy sort of thing is.
그래요. excellence는 우수성이라는 명사고 artistic는 예술적. 그래서 예술적 우수성. What about widely recognized?
If you are recognized for something, then you're acknowledged as, or people or groups look at you and say, okay, well, yeah, we acknowledge this person or we see them a certain way. Now, if it's widely recognized, then think of, wide being broad, right? So it's saying that a lot of people, not just a few or a group of people or certain people acknowledge you or see you this way, but, for the most part, the majority or a large group see you this way.
그래요. 그래서 recognized는 인정받는 건데 그냥 한두 명한테서 인정받는 게 아니라 널리 인정받는 겁니다. 많은 사람들이 인정한다는 뜻이겠죠. widely가 이런 식으로 widely accepted, widely acknowledged 이런 표현들이 있을 수가 있어요. 여기서는 widely recognized. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. The Grammys are adding 5 new categories headlined by a new award honoring artistic excellence in Asian pop music performances, such as K-pop, that are originating from or widely recognized within Asian markets.
Lionel Messi has tied the all-time World Cup scoring record with a hat trick, powering defending champions Argentina to a dominant opening victory over Algeria.
리오넬 메시가 역대 월드컵 최다 득점 타이 기록을 완성하는 해트트릭을 선보이며 알제리를 상대로 한 월드컵 디펜딩 챔피언 아르헨티나의 조별리그 1차전 경기를 대승으로 이끌었습니다. Oh, wow. Messi has made this big, personal record, but also done a good favor for his own team.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they won 3-0
Yeah.
against Algeria, and he scored all three goals.
Exactly.
And of course, those 3 goals that have now tied him with Miroslav Klose for the most goals in the World Cup total. I think people in Korea, I think, probably might remember Miroslav Klose because he scored a lot of those goals in the Korean World Cup back in 2002.
Yeah.
So I think if you watched any of those games or remember back in those days, that's a name I'm sure a lot of people would remember.
그래요. 월드컵 통산 이제 16골로 최다 득점 클로제와 이제 드디어 어깨를 나란히 하게 된 메시가 되겠습니다. 자, 비기다, 동점, 이런 뜻으로, 우리가 타이를 많이 쓰는데요. 여기서는 이제 메시가 클로제와 이제 최다 득점을 이제 똑같이 하게 됐다, 이런 의미겠죠? 타이 한번 볼까요?
Yeah, if you tied someone or tied something, then you've made it the same. It is even. It could be in terms of scores, typically. So, they both now have 17 goals in total.
Oh, is it 17?
Sorry, was it 17?
16, I think.
Sorry. 17 if he scores one more.
Right.
So, yeah, they have the same number of total goals at 16. So he tied that mark.
그래요. 해트트릭. 메시가 이렇게 3골을 넣으면서 3-0으로 아르헨티나가 알제리아를 상대로 우승을 했고요. 또 개인 기록으로는 이렇게 클로제와 타이를 하게 된 메시입니다. Argentina is the defending champion.
Yes.
So that means...
It means that they are the most recent champions.
Yep.
So you can be a champion from, let's say, before, right? But if you are the defending champions, then you are the most recent champion. You're the one that's going for back-to-back championships or trying to win again, essentially.
바로 전 대회의 우승자를 defending champion이라고 부릅니다. 자, 여기서는 그 전 대회의 우승 국가를 말하겠죠. 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. Lionel Messi has tied the all-time World Cup scoring record with a hat-trick, powering defending champions Argentina to a dominant opening victory over Algeria. All right, well, here's headline number 4.
UNICEF has warned that over 1 billion children, or half the global youth population, are exposed to at least 3 overlapping climate hazards, such as heat waves, floods, and droughts, which severely threaten their health, education, and survival.
유니세프는 보고서를 통해 전 세계 아동 인구의 절반에 해당하는 10억 명 이상의 어린이들이 폭염, 홍수, 가뭄 등을 포함한 최소 3가지 이상의 기후 위험에 동시에 노출돼 있으며 이에 따라 이들의 건강과 교육, 생존이 심각하게 위협받고 있다고 경고했습니다. Tell us more.
So they say every single child globally faces at least one climate hazard, while 123,000 children experience more than 6 distinct hazards in their lifetime. Especially children in nations like Bangladesh, Myanmar, Pakistan, they face the highest number of overlapping hazards, while over 4 million children in Africa's Sahel region deal with a triple threat of extreme heat waves, and dust storms.
그래요. 특히 이제 이 남아시아 지역 그리고 아프리카 일부 지역에 있는 아이들이 가장 많은 기후 위험에 노출이 되어 있다고 볼 수 있겠죠. We're looking at threats or hazards to do with the climate. Hazards, of course, being something really dangerous. They are exposed to at least 3 of these on average.
If you are exposed, it means that you are unprotected. So you are vulnerable to something. It could be even, if you think of, let's say, if it's a hot, sunny day and you're wearing a t-shirt, then your arm is exposed to the sun.
Yeah.
The sun can, burn your skin, let's say. If you're wearing long sleeves, then your skin or your arm is not exposed. It's protected. It's covered.
Yeah, that's why in Korea people like to wear rash guards.
That's right. Yeah.
그 래시가드, 이게요, rash guard인데 rash가 빨갛게 피부가 이렇게 두드러기 생기고 그러는 건데 이제 너무 많이 햇빛에 exposed, 노출이 되면은 빨갛게 될 수 있죠. 그것으로부터 피부를 guard, 지켜준다, 보호한다라고 해서 이 옷이 긴팔, 긴 바지로 이렇게 되어 있잖아요. 수영복인데. 그래서 rash guard라고 부르죠. 그때도 in order to keep yourself not exposed to the sun, to prevent yourself being exposed to the sun, then you wear a rash guard. 자, in this case, we're looking at being exposed to climate hazards. And there are at least 3 overlapping climate hazards that children are exposed to.
Yeah, if things overlap, then they are kind of on top of one another. So it means that it's not just one, but all 3 of these can be combined at the same time.
그렇죠. 그러니까 한 번에 한 가지 기후 위험에 노출되는 게 아니라 때로는 뭐 홍수와 그다음에 뭐 폭염이 같이 있을 수도 있고 아니면 뭐 가뭄과 폭염이 같이 있을 수도 있고 그렇잖아요. 그러다 보니까 겹치는 게 있다. overlapping. 겹친다. 그래서 이제 이런 3종의 그 기후 이상을 뭐 동시에 겪는 경우들이 왕왕 있다.
If you think of people that maybe work at a 24-hour restaurant, then so one person might work from midnight until 8 a.m. Another person might work from maybe 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. and different shifts like that.
Yeah.
But if you work from, let's say, midnight to 8 a.m. and another person starts at 7 a.m., then your shifts overlap for 1 hour.
Yeah.
So for 1 hour from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., you're both working together. You overlap.
Exactly. 자, 이게 겹친다, 중복된다라는 뜻의 overlap. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. UNICEF has warned that over 1 billion children, or half the global youth population, are exposed to at least 3 overlapping climate hazards, such as heat waves, floods, and droughts, which severely threaten their health, education, and survival. Let's move on to the final headline.
A new study suggests that mosquitoes are attracted by a person's body odor, temperature, carbon dioxide emissions, and skin chemicals rather than their blood type, which is commonly believed to attract them.
모기는 흔히 알려진 혈액형보다 사람의 체취와 체온, 이산화탄소, 피부에서 나오는 화학물질 등에 이끌린다는 연구 결과가 발표됐습니다. Okay, so I guess you're sort of born with it then.
To a certain degree, but there are also things that you can do or that might make it worse or that can help. As an example, drinking beer in the summertime is very popular, but drinking beer actually increases your body temperature and it alters your skin odor. And that actually makes individuals 1.35 times more attractive to mosquitoes for a 24-hour window. So about 30% more attractive if you're actually drinking beer in the summertime.
Keep that in mind if you're going to drink outdoors in the summertime then.
Exactly.
맥주를 마시면은 모기에 물릴 가능성이 더 높아진다고 합니다. 이 체취도 달라지기도 하고 그다음에 전반적으로 이제 열이 좀 생기면서 체온도 올라가겠죠.
They also made a point that skin color, eye color, and hair color have absolutely no bearing on mosquito preferences.
Because mosquitoes, they don't have good eyesight.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. 그렇죠. 뭐 피부색, 뭐 눈 색깔, 우리는 뭐 거의 다 dark brown이지만 한국에서. 근데 외국은 뭐 blue, green 다양하잖아요. 아무 상관없답니다. 이거는.
I think what they're trying to say in that sense is that people, I think we tend, of the 5 senses, I think we try to rely on our sight a lot. We probably kind of view that as the most important of our 5 senses. Whereas with mosquitoes, it's like, vision, seeing things in terms of color and stuff. It's more about like the smell, using their nose to kind of navigate their way around to where they want to go.
그래요. 자, 그러면은 이제 모기들이 이런 사람들에게 좀 이끌린다. They are attracted to, or they are attracted by 이런 표현이 나오는데요. Attracted 볼까요?
Yeah, attracted is a form of attraction. And if you have an attraction, then it's a reason that people might like you or something that that they're drawn to. So because of this, I want to go there because I'm attracted to this, whatever that might be. Or, this person is attractive, so I want to be around them.
매력적이라는 의미로도 많이 쓰는 거죠. 지금 someone is attractive라고 했을 때는 이 사람 굉장히 매력적이야 라는 뜻이 되겠고 attraction이라는 것은 사람들이 다 무언가 관심을 갖게끔 하는 것을 말하기도 합니다. 그런데 여기선 모기가 사람에게 채취나 체온이나 이런 것들로 인해서 이끌린다라는 얘기니까요. 그렇게 유인된다, 끌린다라는 뜻으로 be attracted를 쓸 수 있겠고 and commonly believed.
Commonly believed is everyone kind of acknowledges this or thinks this, and it's very common. So it's not just one or two people or some people, but a lot of people seem to think this way, or they thought this apparently, which actually turns out to be not true.
그래요. Commonly believed는 흔히 믿어지는 이라는 뜻이에요. 실제로는 그렇지 않지만, 사람들이 흔히, 혈액형, A형, B형, 이런 얘기들을 좀 했나 보죠? 근데 그렇지 않다고 합니다. 그 혈액형과는 무관하게 목이 물릴 수 있어요. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. A new study suggests that mosquitoes are attracted by a person's body odor, temperature, carbon dioxide emissions, and skin chemicals rather than their blood type, which is commonly believed to attract them. Right, well that's it for the headlines this morning. 제이슨 선생님과 함께 살펴본 헤드라인이었습니다.